The only way to make sense of what's happening around the world today, it seems crazy, but if you know what's going to happen tomorrow, you can kind of get your bearings. God has seen fit to tell us a great deal about tomorrow in maybe 500 unfulfilled prophecies in the Bible. And so we reserve a few minutes on Sunday morning to suggest news or trends in the world that would be predicted by our literal futurist reading of the Bible. To avoid sensationalism, we're careful to use recognized, reliable sources for news, if there are any. But actually, we're not on the dark web or following all these conspiracy theories and such. We're just seeing what's going on in the world and getting caught up to it. And we're not saying that the things we report are the fulfillment of prophecy. We're saying they're things you'd expect to be happening because of what God says is going to happen. A one-world global government of some sort will be a key feature of the final years on earth just before Jesus returns in his second coming. And so we expect the nations of the world to be moving in that direction, and they are. An unlikely country has stepped up as a proponent and leader of a more global government. The article was titled, "China Proposed Initiative on Global Civilization Hailed." Here's some excerpts, and a couple times the English gets a little bit muddy. I think it was translated from Chinese to English, but I think you'll get the gist of it. The article says, leaders of political parties and organizations from around the world have hailed the China proposed Global Civilization Initiative, saying that it has great relevance, together with the Global Development Initiative and Global Security Initiative, to build up countries' consensus on addressing mounting global challenges in terms of peace, security, development, and harmonious coexistence. Their comments came as Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, CPC, Central Committee, unveiled the Global Civilization Initiative on Wednesday at the CPC in dialogue with world political parties' high-level meeting. The initiative calls for respect for the diversity of civilizations, upholding the common values of humanity and pursuing peace, development, equity, justice, democracy, and freedom. And I don't know how a country with communist in their name can talk about democracy. It's just crazy stuff. And promoting robust international people-to-people exchanges and cooperation. It's kind of a big deal because it's an annual meeting, and I didn't get any stats for this year because there weren't any posted, but in 2021, the summit involved representatives from 500 political parties across 160 countries and more than 10,000 party representatives. And so it's a huge thing that you never hear about that China is doing. The COVID-19 pandemic and the constant fear generated by climate change are leading factors that are driving a push for a global government. Add to that world hunger, and nations are ready to surrender their sovereignty for survival. In September of 21, the Pan-European Commission on Health and Sustainable Development, convened by the World Health Organization, called for global governance and recommended the establishment of a global health board. The World Government Summit is an annual event held in Dubai. It brings together leaders in government for a global dialogue about governmental processes and policies with a focus on the issues of futurism, technology, and other topics. Arvind Ashta is holder of the Banque Populaire Chair in Microfinance at the Burgundy School of Business. He has degrees in economics, business management, political science, and law from prestigious institutions in India and France. He recently said, "It is time to seriously consider the advantages of a world federal government." And so this is the era in which we live, where you and I might think, well, that's never going to happen, but almost the whole rest of the world it wants to have a global federal government. I don't know exactly who would run that thing, but they think, hey, well, we could have really stopped COVID if we all got on the same page. Trouble is they had so many pages that you could get on, remember? No one really knew what was going on, and so now they're analyzing it and seeing that most of what we did was wrong anyway, but so it's kind of difficult. But global government, years ago, and we would talk about this in prophecy updates, to say, it's never going to happen. It's happening. And the more that they talk about saving the planet and all of that, the more it's going to happen. So now, We don't get political about that, and by that I mean those aren't the issues that you want to talk about. The point is, God knows about these things, and he predicted these things hundreds, even thousands of years ago, that things, what we see in the world, maybe not the exact things, but things just like it were going to be happening. And so you should start into this every day before you turn on the news by thinking, hey, God's got this, right? It's all well in hand. Will we be persecuted? Will we go through some suffering? Who knows? But even that, what can separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus? And so we stand on a very sure foundation of God's prophecy that's going to come true 100%. And that's how we analyze our world. We're witnessing stage setting, we say, for the 7-year time of Jacob's trouble, otherwise called the Great Tribulation. The church, you and I who are Christians, will not be on the earth during that time. The Lord promised the church that he would spare us from the wrath to come upon the inhabitants of the earth. We'll be in heaven with the Lord. How's that going to happen? He's going to come in the clouds, resurrect the dead in Christ, raise living believers, in the sense that we will be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. We will, our corruptible body will put on incorruption. Our mortal body will put on immortality. Are you ready for the rapture? If not, get ready and stay ready and keep looking up, because, ready or not, Jesus is coming.